Boys, last episode of 2020.
Whew.
How's it feel?
Good. It does. It feels good to get ready to put this this whole year in the rear view. That's for sure. We made it though. We made it. You know, I'm proud of us.
Well, since the open's really quick today, because we got a lot to get to, describe 2020 in one word.
Just one.
One.
Huh.
Okay.
Is that's your word? Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got one. And it's the most overly used word of the year. Unprecedented. That's the one. Unprecedented.
That's good. That is good.
A lot.
Okay. That's good.
Huh? A lot. Unprecedented. That's basically the Brunch Breakdown. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Brunch Breakdown podcast, where today is a special day because it is the best day, the Brunchies. We are going through all of our favorite things of 2020 and leaving this year in the dust, talking albums of the year, persons of the year, movies, TV shows, all this great stuff of the year during the Brunchies. And we are going to give our now winner as well. We're going to find our winner from our 5-week now explosion. We're going to be picking between volumes 5, 20, 48, and 61, giving our favorite songs, our final thoughts on now. That's what I call brunch. Cannot wait for that. Also, we've got Brews Day, and we're just going to have a lot of fun. So, guys, let's get Brews Day started. Chris, kick us off in the last episode of 2020 with what you are sipping on, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to take a cue from Daniel Dudley because to me, New Year's it's more of a liquor holiday. What do you guys think about that? Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker.
Yeah, I just feel like you get dressed up nice and you go out places and, well, in every year, but this year. And you sip on something nicer than you normally would. It's not a natty holiday, you know? So I'm having a little bit.
What holiday is the natty holiday?
That's a great question. What holiday is a natty holiday? I don't know, like shotgun and beers on 4th of July?
4th of July,
Something like that?
Day before Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But so I don't have a beer today. What I do have is a little bit of Maker's Mark, because this is, to be honest with you guys, everything about me right now, aside from being live on a podcast, is probably what I'm going to be doing this New Year's Eve. I'm going to be in a hoodie, I'm going to be in pajama pants, and I'm going to be sipping on a little bit of Maker's Mark. So that's what I'm sipping on for this episode. Happy New Year's, guys. Happy New Year's.
I like it.
Classy.
Get those bottle pulls. I like it. Maker's Mark. One thing about Maker's Mark is I just found out how to properly open the bottle. Like I YouTubed it. And it's this guy who was just like making fun of his friend for not being able to open it. And I learned how to open it. So, because I always just struggle. I'm like tearing the thing apart trying to figure out how to open up Maker's Mark. I look like a freaking idiot. But anyways, guys, I'm ending the year with honestly my favorite beer to drink whenever it's nice outside. And right now it's not nice outside. It's like barely 60 degrees. It was raining all day yesterday. So I want to drink the beer that makes me just happy and think of summertime. Breaking out the Pacifico, guys.
Oh.
I love my Pacifico. This is my favorite beer I feel like you can just have a bunch of them and just hang. So opening up the old Pacifico for the old last brunch of 2020.
Nice.
That's beautiful. That beer hits home and touches my heart so much. Oddly enough, I had a Pacifico on Christmas Eve.
Nice.
Ooh.
Because
Makes you
it
happy,
was snowing. It was snowing and freezing here, but I needed a little warmth in my heart, and Pacifico was there. Pacifico is always there for me. And I haven't had one in my in its natural habitat, which is California for me. So it was the least I could do. I'm going to go a different direction than either of you guys. Surprise. We're winding down December. It's still that still have holiday beers, you have stouts, you have things like that. But one in particular that I want to finish the year with, from a brewery that I've naturally featured here many times before, but good dear friends at Cinderlands brewing company, came out with a beautiful IPA called She's a Beaut. And it's a IPA with spruce tips and orange peel. And it's just so well done. I haven't featured a lot of IPAs on this podcast yet, but this is one of my favorites that I've had this year. It's piney. It is citrusy. It's hazy, and it's very clean. You get the just the right amount of hops, not too much. It's not those dry hops that leave you needing to chug a glass of water between sips or anything like that. She is indeed a beaut. So shouts to good friend of the program, friend of ours, Tyler, for hooking me up with these. They went quickly. They did. So I had to finish it off with the year. She's a beaut. Certainly wouldn't use that to describe this year whatsoever. So I'll enjoy this now.
I love it. Well, boys, let's cheers. Last one of 2020.
Cheers.
Love it. All right. Well, now let's get into Now. That's what I call music. The winner of Now. That's what I call Brunch. We've got down to the last four, the final four here. Volumes 5, 20, 48, and 61. Chris, put them up on the big board. Let's see what we got going on here. I am really excited about this, guys, because we took a week off from the Now, and it made me miss Now. If that makes any sense. Did you guys miss them? Because I feel like it was such a part of our lives from like Thanksgiving until Christmas. And then we took a week off and it was like, whoa, I miss my people.
It's like it was a little weird to listen to all of that music constantly as part of your daily, weekly routine for a number of weeks there. And then all of a sudden it just got, it was a little absent. It felt a little strange. So it's a little bittersweet here. I'm excited to try to crown our winner, but be a little sad come next week when I know that it's all said and done for now. No pun intended.
Yeah. Well, in 20 years, we'll be able to do this again with Now. That's what I call music 150, and we'll go through them all from 77 to 150. Can't wait. It's going to be exciting. Well, boys, when you look at this, man, what do you got? Like, what are you looking at? Now 5, 20, where are you at?
So I just want to pose a thought that I had as I was reviewing these four, because we've obviously been through them already. Yes. And so upon a second pass here, three things that I was thinking about in reviewing these four Now compilations was, one, obviously you're listening through and you're thinking of like, what songs just do I personally like? What songs do catch me? Number two, I was thinking about kind of that nostalgia piece that we've talked about in the past. What songs really make me go like, oh, remember a time or just remember an era of music. And then third, I was looking at these albums just to think like, running through the track list that if you're not watching, you should be, because you can see all four albums. Running through the track list and looking at the actual artists and like trying to compare each of these albums based on just the list of stars, and like which one is more powerful. So I tried to evaluate them based on those three kind of criteria. And even though I felt like I kind of had my criteria in place, I was still, it still was hard.
It is. It was, and it's interesting you put it that way, Chris, because I tried to look at it in a lot of similar facets, but I found myself trying to say, like, attempting to remove the nostalgia, because that's so much more emotional, and there's not as much emotion tied in with some of these newer albums, especially 61. These songs we still hear to this day. So it's almost an unfair advantage to those earlier, especially particularly 5 and 20 and even 48 to an extent. And I kept going back and forth, and I'm thinking, should I be using nostalgia to grade these, or should I be trying to remove it and be literally judging it on, like you said, songs that I personally like and songs that just still were so big at that time, and artists that were big at that time, and how that whole group of songs and artists comes together. So this was trickier than I thought it was going to be. Not just because it's the best of the best, but because now we're looking at these wide ranges, literally from 1998, 2000, all the way up to 2017, and trying to compare. It's like the whole GOAT debate, right? Where you're talking about different sports and how sports were played differently between now and in the past, in previous years. So this was trickier than I thought.
I went going into this, and I tried to stay consistent with this when I was like going through the nows as we were going through them. It's just like, what songs do I want to hear at a wedding, right? Because you're thinking about when you're doing these things, you're looking at nows, and it's like the best songs of like that quarter of the year or like that year. And I just look at these, and I think while trying to pick the winner, I was looking a lot at what songs do I want to hear now, because there are a lot of songs that I don't want to hear now. And even the songs from now 61, which is like the most recent one we have that we're battling through, there's a lot of songs on there that I don't want to hear right now. But there are some songs from other ones that I do.
Yeah, so. That's interesting. You said that too, Didi. I thought, because you mentioned this, when we were asking what our listeners would choose, like which would you choose to be your New Year's Eve playlist? Yeah. By looking at it like that. So I tried to take that into consideration too. But yeah, boys, this is going to be interesting to see how we're going to, give our opinions and try to settle on one of these as the best now album of all time. I'm interested to hear what you guys have.
Oh gosh. So a runner-up for me.
Okay.
Runner-up for me is now 48. That is runner-up for me. It was very hard for me not to pick this number one, but there is a reason why I could not pick it. It's because I hate Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran collaborations.
Ooh.
I refuse to give it a number one. I hate it a lot. But my winner, Now 20. I love Now 20. Now 20 has a bunch of songs on it that I, to this day, and probably for the rest of my life, will want to hear. And like, I just, I look at Don't Ya by the Pussycat Dolls, great song. Ponder Replay, great song. Bobby Valentino on Pimpin' All Over the World with Ludacris. Bobby Valentino, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's on a reality show of some sort. I don't know what he's doing now. But like, his voice is great. And his voice is perfect on rap songs. And I love Bobby Valentino. Made me listen to more Bobby Valentino after this. Dim Franchise Boys, like you, Sierra and Bow Wow, I've talked about how much I love that song. Natasha Bedingfield's on here. Kelly Clarkson, Behind These Hazel Eyes, top 2 for me. Kelly Clarkson song. Sugar, We're Going Down. Beverly Hills. There are just these songs that I want to hear at a wedding. I want to hear at a New Year's Eve party, and I will be able to hear, I guess in 30 years, somebody's retirement party, I'll be able to hear them, and I'll be very happy about it. So, that's what I'm going with. Now 20 is my winner of the Now That's What I Call Brunch. What do you got?
I'll jump in because my 1-2 were exactly the same. I had the exact same runner up and the exact same number one. And like Didi stole all of my reasons for why I love Now 20. Bobby Valentino. Oh, that song is so good. I was listening to Pimpin' All Over the World today while I was working out. And like at the end where they say all the reasons why you're not pimping, like if you go out, pull up your pants and you have white socks on, you're not pimping. Like Man, that shit is so funny. That song is so good. Um, yeah, I just this was the one where I kind of combined time and place and the rundown of artists that are on it, and it was just I mean, legitimate artist after artist after artist for that time and place, and some of them are still legitimate today. I couldn't go another direction. It kind of had like everything that I was looking for in a Now compilation.
Yeah. It does have everything. That's a good reason too. Because I think that's one thing that I didn't say is this. Yeah, it's got everything.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I don't know if that's ever happened. I know we had 1 week where we're all at least had it in our top 2, and that's how it was easy to pick, but never the exact 2 same. So interesting, boys. I can tell you that I don't have the exact order of the nows that you picked. They're not the exact same, so this isn't going to be as easy as we thought, but maybe it will be. My runner-up is Now 20. For all the reasons that you guys mentioned. And I went back and forth on this. I had it written down at one point as what was going to be my winner. And I had listened to these a number of times going back and forth. And my winner was Now 48. So we've got the same 2 albums. I just had them in a flipped order. And it was really, really difficult. Like I said, I had them flipped at one point, and I really just had to look at it and say, which has the lowest low and the highest high? And Life Jennings Must Be Nice. That's just forgettable for me. That song is forgettable. But the rest of it is so good. It's so good. And honestly, the one, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but the one other thing that helped give 48 just a little bit over 20 is on 48, That's My Kind of Night by Luke Bryan. I hate country music, but I am down with that freaking song. So that over Keith Urban's You'll Think of Me, it wasn't even close. So again, it came down to little things like that. Music that I don't like but had to pick. It was that difficult. So I had 48 1 and Now 20 as my runner up. So we have a clear cut 2 there for us to pick a winner from.
So if you're watching, those are the 2 on the right. Now 20 is top right. Now 48 is bottom right.
Dan, you ripping on my guy Life Jennings up there. That's fine. But like that Taylor Swift Ed Sheeran song is not good. It's just got those 2 in it. It's a very boring song. It's forgettable. The Selena Gomez song on here is forgettable. But like you look at Now 48 and you have a lot of like heavy hitters on here. And that's why it's very hard not to pick it. It's a lot of heavy hitters there. But like, when you're at a wedding and you hear a song from like the 80s or something and you don't know who it's by because you're like, I've just heard this song at weddings my whole life. That's literally them Franchise Boys. Oh, I Think They Like Me. Someone plays that at a wedding, like in however many years. My daughter will be like 10 or something. That song comes on. Everyone my age, all the adults there, they're all jamming because they love the song. They're like, I don't know, some group from the 2000s, whatever. That's how I feel about Now 20. It's like there's not a lot of that, but there's some of that that's like, I don't know I can't remember who these people are, but I know that jam. Mm-hmm. That's who they are. Shouts to Franz Ferdinand for that in the Click 5.
That's the thing about Now 20 is it finishes super strong. We went through that when we discussed these albums. Weezer, Beverly Hills, Fall Out Boy, Sugar We're Going Down, Lifehouse, You and Me, and Fix You by Coldplay are super strong. So I'd argue it has, a stronger finish than Now 48. I think the first 5 could go head to head easily, and it'd be difficult to pick the first 5 songs against Now 20 against the first 5 of 48. So like that middle chunk is really tough to look at those and pick which is better. And again, these are years apart.
That's interesting. Like when I look at the top 5, just like artist wise, because the songs are all good. Like the top
Yeah.
5 of both of these are good
No
songs.
question.
I look at like Katy Perry, Justin Timberlake. Those are artists that have like stood the test of time. You know what I mean? Like they're relevant. They will continue to be relevant. Now 20, I feel like all 5 of those. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Pussycat Dolls, maybe not. But like Black Eyed Peas, Missy Elliott, Rihanna, Ludacris, that's pretty strong. And like
Yeah.
that's before you even get to Destiny's Child and Kelly Clarkson's biggest song.
Like I mentioned, I had these two flipping and flopping back and forth, and I don't think you could go wrong either way. It is hard when, and as you can see, if you're watching now, the two on the bottom, now 48 and now 60, one, both had that now what's next thing kind of going on at the bottom, right? The last 4 or 5 songs they dedicated to next artists. Now, the ones chosen here are really, really good and were naturally ahead of their time. But I don't want to call them throwaway songs, but they're not the best of that year. When you go up against Now 20, it has 20 of the best songs, and Now 48 has 16. So that definitely gains strength to 20 just because of that fact alone, that it's got more quality and quantity of songs based on this whole Now presents what's next. So
You just picked your winner, Dan.
I'm willing to go with 20. I'm willing to go with 20. You both picked 20 as a winner. I had it back and forth for the last week, and I'm not upset with Now 20 being the best Now album of all time. That's it. We have our winner.
Boys, we did it. The impossible dream, the impossible star, we reached it. The finals of Now 20. We got our winner. It is Now 20, and I could cry. This is beautiful.
It
Seriously.
really is. It was a lot of listening. A lot of listening, a lot of hours. We did it for you. We did it for our listeners. We did it for America. This was long overdue. And wow. Now 20 out of how many reviews? 70, 72, something like that.
Something.
We went through a lot. And
it was a lot.
Let's pause on that number for a second, okay? Because that's a lot of music. And like these 4 definitely stood out as really good ones. And I don't know if it was because like as you dug through that much music, like the ones that were really good albums were just like clearly like, yeah, they stood out.
mm-hmm.
And I think because of that, when I went back and listened to these 4 again, like when I was like, all right, let's go. I'm going to listen to Now 5. I remember loving that. Let's hit it. I was like so upset we picked the Now with Mandy Moore that wasn't Candy. Like that made me so angry, you know? Like I will say I listened back to these 4 and they're outside of Now 20. I felt like they kind of let me down in some areas. And that's another reason why 20 stuck out to me. But yeah, it's an interesting process to listen to these amidst all of them and then just listen to them on their own. It's hard to explain, but it's a much different experience.
Oh man, yeah, because you're kind of in that when you're listening to them, you're in that era, so you're like picking the best of the era. But when you put them up against other ones, you're like, was this the one we should have went with? I don't know. Yeah, it's like, what were we thinking? Like,
yeah, because it is. It's like maybe these weren't the best 4, but the way that we did it, I think, kept a sane mind for all of us, where we took it in chunks by how the order that they came out in, and then picked our 4 based on that kind of bracket style, right? Or where we hit it in the time periods. If we would have had to pick the 4 best out of all of them, maybe it would have been. Maybe we would have left off 5 or 61. I had a feeling 20 and 48 maybe is still would have stuck around there, but. Yeah, interesting when you listen to them that way and thinking that these are really the best 4. But I'm confident that we still picked the greatest one. It's a fantastic, fantastic album.
Nobody's ever done this before. So as far as I'm concerned, this was the absolute best way that you could do it. And if it wasn't, Show Me Another.
Love it.
Right.
Bam. Now that's what I call brunch. Comes to an end, but now we start the Brunchies.
Ooh,
Let's
go.
get to the first category of the Brunchies. Dan, I'm going to let you pick this category. First category of the Brunchies. Go for it, man.
Oh boy. Let's go with TV show of the year. It'd be a natural segue to go right into music, but I want to save those a little bit. I've dressed up for the occasion, ready, excited to announce these winners and nominees. But yeah, let's go with best TV show of the year. Gentlemen, what do you have?
Chris, hit it.
I went with a quarantine throwback at this point. But I feel like the Bulls documentary that came out this year was arguably one of the most important docuseries of all time, because without it, what the hell would we have done in quarantine? And also, it was awesome. So I went with what was that? I forget what the actual name of it was.
Last Dance.
Last Dance. That was my choice for TV show of the year.
And Chris, we are the same again. The Last Dance, my favorite TV show of 2020 for all of those reasons. Because nothing does this anymore. Does this whole thing where you can actually, where it's appointment viewing. Everyone's watching something at the same time or around the same time. You don't get that anymore. Everyone watches stuff whenever they want to watch it, right? And The Last Dance took over everything. It was on ESPN. It wasn't on Netflix. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, it was like you had to watch it. And if you wanted to be a part of the conversation, you had to make sure you watched it before the next one came on. And I don't know when we have that happen again, and because of quarantine, ESPN rushed it and moved it up because it was supposed to happen at the end of June. And then they did it in April because of quarantine. And it's like, yeah, it's The Last Dance. I'll never forget The Last Dance for a lot of reasons because it was super great, but quarantine makes that number one for me.
Well, that's a clean sweep in that category for all three of us, gentlemen. Easily The Last Dance. Probably the easiest award of the night that we're going to hand out for all the reasons that both of you said. I was just going to touch on, Didi, what you said there with it came out in April and they rushed. It was supposed to be June, right after the NBA Finals. A lot of people thought Michael Jordan had a lot to do with that and rushing it and playing it with LeBron and all this different type of stuff. It was a funny side story to follow along with it every time. And you're right. It was a weekly appointment viewing and you do not get that anymore. And it was just kind of cool to be back in that. That's how TV used to be all the time. And I don't know if there'll be anything as great of a docuseries as that's been. Last time that we did a Brunchies, I think the best TV show was probably the OJ 30 for 30 or the OJ doc that aired. So maybe not enough. There hasn't been one as good since then, at least. So very proud to give out that award. Easily The Last Dance. Other nominees for me were The Queen's Gambit on Netflix and The Crown, but not like the newest season of The Crown. We're 4 seasons behind and it's wonderful. So I'll give that award out in a future year or something like that. But no doubt The Last Dance.
Yeah, some other stuff I loved this year. Love Life on HBO Max. I loved a lot. That was just super good. Never Have I Ever on Netflix. I thought it was just like super funny. Minnie Kaling. It's basically a story loosely based on her life growing up. So I love that. And Indian Matchmaking on Netflix as well.
That's the one.
That was really close for it not to be very close for me not to make that my pick. But Last Dance was just too important. But Indian Matchmaking's just a fun show to watch. A different side of dating and what arranged marriages. It's wild, man. Just people. I just can't believe people are still doing it. I can't believe that's a thing that still happens in society, but it does. So yeah, Indian Matchmaking.
Nice. I had one honorable mention, and it was the show Life Below Zero. And I can't explain why that was the thing that I binge watched on Disney Plus when quarantine started, but I got in heavy with that show.
Wow.
And that was that one helped out too. I approached this category as like what helped me the most during lockdown, and that was another one.
Dude, I gotta say, best thing about Disney Plus is like the Nat Geo part of Disney Plus. You can find yourself in some wormholes over there on that part, and that's probably the biggest surprise to me. Like, there's great Disney classics and movies and stuff, but man, that Nat Geo part of Disney Plus takes you some places.
It does.
Oh man, that was great. Favorite TV shows. Chris, pick our next category.
Okay. This is one I'm actually pretty passionate about. So let's go to Song of the Year. And I'll leave it up to one of you two. I guess Dan went third that one, right? So Dan, why don't you kick this one off?
Yeah, this was easily one of the tougher categories. So much to choose from. And in a weird year where we had music coming out at its regular schedule from it all just kind of stopping for a number of reasons, let's be honest. And for then all of a sudden artists to create these quarantine songs, quarantine albums that weren't scheduled, others delayed albums and pushed them out later, which led to a lot of music towards the last back half of the year. But for me, to remember this year in particular, I am going to pick a quarantine song and the song that I listen to the most. And this is no surprise. My boys, Josh and Tyler from 21 Pilots, Level of Concern is just an amazing song, regardless of circumstances and how it was written and why it was written. Almost everything they put out to me is near perfection. And so was this song. So Level of Concern, 21 Pilots gets my award.
Dude, this category was hard because I thought it was going to be easy until I started thinking about and looking back at like my, my Spotify or Apple Music and just being like, oh crap.
Yeah.
This song. Like, I don't know why. It's like music it felt like music took a back seat because I wasn't in my car a lot. And that's usually when I listen to the most music. But no, I still listen to a ton of music and whatever. But anyways, Song of the Year. Can I have a tie? Is it bad that I have a tie?
Ooh.
I have a good reason.
Okay, I think we could let you slip on that one.
I have a good reason why I have a tie. Okay, so first song is Lil Baby, The Bigger Picture. I said this song on the podcast a million times because it really captured the moment of mid-quarantine, George Floyd, protests, all the unrest that was going on in the country, and me just felt everything in that one song. And that's why I love that song so much. But it's tied with Lil Uzi's That Way. And that's because that song is the opposite. Because that song came out on March 2nd. And I remember it came out on a Sunday, which is a weird day to release a song, but that's Lil Uzi. And in the Coachella group message, I sent that out and I was like, oh my God, Coachella is going to be the best ever. Because Lil Uzi was like second to headliner on, I think, Sunday's lineup for Coachella, or one of the days. So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be absolutely incredible. Maybe he brings out the Backstreet Boys for That Way. This is going to be insane. And nothing about Coachella not happening was in my head on that day. And then after that song came out, everything went to shit. So like, that's why those two songs are the most memorable for me. It's like mid-quarantine and like before we even knew what, pandemic meant. Those two.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting to look back on the year and like those things that happened in January, February, and early March to like think that like life was normal back then? Like artists were releasing songs thinking this will be the song of the summer. And, like we were planning vacations and shit like that. Like it's crazy to think how different life is.
It feels like different years, honestly. It feels like it feels like that was like a whole different year. Was like, January, February, like early March were completely different year, and then 2020 started.
Yeah, 100%. My song of the year is I've mentioned this before. It's going to Justin Bieber for Drake's pop star. So we need to award the Brunchy to Justin Bieber for that song because I don't know, man. I just fell in love with that music video and I couldn't stop listening to the song. And sometimes when you have a music video that's that good, it makes a song even better and more memorable. And man, I just love that. And I'll be playing it for years to come. But that's got to be my pick.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. A couple of other nominees, honorable mentions. Used to Like by Neon Trees just blew me away when I heard it, just because we hadn't heard from that band for so long, and they came back and it didn't sound like garbage. And I couldn't stop playing it. That was good. And Hallucinations by Paris, another favorite band of mine, really changing their sound. And it dropped that single earlier in the year, and it's just unbelievable. Probably the best song off of that album. So just a couple others that were out of a many songs it was hard to choose from.
Yeah, a lot of runner-ups there. I'm gonna go with Claire Rosenkrantz, Backyard Boy. I'm just excited to see what she does in the future.
Yeah.
She's got a very interesting sound going on with her EP and everything, so I'm really excited about that. To see what she does next year. And then a couple quarantine songs that really most of the year. Hers, I Can't Breathe, and Luke Combs, 6 Feet Apart. They're just two songs that really just, 2020 was a weird one, it's and those two songs just really are like, we talk time and place during now, and it's like those two songs are very time and place. So yeah.
I had no honorable mentions.
No honorable mentions.
There was no other song that was even close.
No, yeah, exactly. I had no debate. That was the easiest one for me to pull out.
That's good. Hey, that's good. Those are the best ones.
Good. That's good, because I was like fighting with myself. I was like, I needed that couple minutes while Dan's internet was broken. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I needed that. Oh man. All right. So let's go to Athlete of the Year for the Brunchies, guys. I don't know what order we're in. We're all over the place when it comes to order right now. So
I think it's you.
It's me. I'll start. Fine. Athlete of the Year, Dennis Rodman.
Oh,
because
man.
of The Last Dance. I completely forgot how much I love Dennis Rodman, right? Because Dennis Rodman did some weird things politically over the last couple years, over the last decade, basically. It's, like, Kim Jong-un and all this other stuff. Like, I don't know what you're doing, Dennis. But The Last Dance brought it all back. With help from Carmen Electra and some great stories about Michael Jordan busting in the hotel room with naked girls and all this stuff. Just Dennis Rodman is an icon, and we all need to remember how great Dennis Rodman was. He was great on the court, but man, was he even greater off the court. Like, I love Dennis Rodman. Athlete of the Year for me, because The Last Dance brought him back.
I'll follow you up there, Didi, because I didn't have Dennis Rodman, but I also had my Athlete of the Year being from the 90s. It was Michael Jordan from The Last Dance. So we're really current here in 2020.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That doc gave us so many moments. I learned things about Michael Jordan I didn't know. There were so many memes and GIFs and other jokes that came out of that series. It was all surrounding Michael Jordan. And I think a lot of those are going to live on. Like the one of him looking at the interview on the iPad and laughing, and how that's been a meme for just everything. Every time you hear something and you're like, yeah, okay, that's the meme now. It's got to be Michael Jordan. So that's who I went with.
Even Isaiah Thomas has become a meme from that. Like the gift that's like, and I was offended by that.
Yeah.
Two amazing selections. Yeah, the Athlete of the Year, interesting to give that award out in a year where there was no sports for how many months? 5 months. Very, very strange. But there was one athletic event that took place at its scheduled time in a little bit of a different venue, but didn't need to get postponed, didn't get changed, anything like that. And that occurs on the 4th of July every single year. My Athlete of the Year, Joey Chestnut for breaking his own world record, 75 hot dogs consumed in 10 minutes to capture his 13th title. His 13th title. That got so overshadowed and overlooked. It was so unfortunate. It was so weird how they did it. And I'll just love the interview afterwards. And they're like, Joey, what pushed you to break this record to get 75? And he said, honestly, we're kind of right next to the kitchen, and the hot dogs are a little fresher than they are when they're out of Coney Island. They're probably out there for an hour or so. So they were just fresher and tastier. Is literally what he said. That's my man. That's my athlete of the year, Joey Chestnut, world champion once again.
I should have seen that coming, because now I'm like thinking back to that episode when you gave us like Joey Chestnut analytics, and
right.
like you love that guy. So of course that makes total sense.
I just overshadowed and overlooked.
Yeah,
I just can't get over you saying that.
Like Dan's like the disrespect that this guy gets.
It's remarkable. Everybody's, at home for you're not supposed to be partying for 4th of July this year. So everybody's at home. There should be more eyes on TV, more eyes on Joey, more publicity afterwards. But no, it went quiet. It was garbage.
I just can't believe you were like, you guys said you wanted sports, and he gave them to you, and you just ignored them.
One event that didn't move. Shouts to Joey.
Oh, God. Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, Joey Chestnut, athletes of the year for the Brunch Breakdown. I mean,
if that doesn't scream 2020, man, I don't know what does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, Dan, you're up. Pick another category. What you got?
Let's see. Since we did athlete, let's go right into best team of the year. Another kind of challenging one, again, where there weren't a lot of sports for the majority of the time. So best team of the year. I forget who's up first. It's probably me. It's the Los Angeles Lakers, and it's not even close. Winning the championship in the bubble, LeBron and AD pulling it together and through an intense series with the Heat. And thankfully, finally, they did it for Kobe. It was amazing. Los Angeles Lakers, team of the year.
Yeah, same. Lakers for me too. Doing it in the bubble in the year that Kobe passed away. Like, I mean, it's just, kind of poetic in that way. It's crazy. And just, LeBron's greatness is just, LeBron is just great. And then AD just becoming AD. It's just awesome. So yeah, yep. Lakers for me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I had a feeling you guys were both going to pick the Lakers, and it's kind of hard for me not to. But I just decided to pick a different team, and I don't know if this counts actually, but hopefully it does. Like, there actually were championships that were won at the beginning of the year when things were totally normal. Like the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, but the team that I wanted to pick is LSU, because I have never seen a college football team literally kick the ever-living shit out of every team they played as hard as LSU did. And they had Joe Burrow at quarterback, who was just highly entertaining throughout the entire thing, smoking cigars after the championship and stuff. And they were not supposed to be there. Like the year before, they were pretty average and underachieving. And then all of a sudden, they just took college football by storm. So they won the championship this year in 2020. So I chose to select LSU.
I love that pick, Chris. You're absolutely right. And they were fun to watch doing it, right? Sometimes you have these like Alabama teams that are not enjoyable to watch when they dominate their opponents and win championships in different fashions. That LSU team was so fun to watch. And if you don't think that Joe Burrow and that group of seniors in particular was that dominant and that good, look at what LSU did this year. Just to show you how big of a difference some of those guys can make. But I love that pick. That would have been a great runner-up had I thought of it. My runner-up is actually going to the Jacksonville Jaguars because They have clinched the number 1 pick in next year's NFL draft by not being the Jets. It would have been the Jets, but no, the Jaguars stayed on course, putting in a different quarterback last week for no reason whatsoever when their starter was healthy and losing, and basically clinching Trevor Lawrence as your franchise quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years. So a great runner-up performance by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And my runner-up is the Pittsburgh Pirates, because even in a shortened season, when you would have thought, maybe if they have like one of those solid starts that the Pirates are known to have sometimes, and then everything goes to shit, you don't have time for everything to go to shit. But no, they were like, we're going to suck even harder in half a season. So, or a third of a season, however many games they played. Yeah. They're like, we're going to suck even harder. And that's what they did. So, Pirates, thank you for being you. Some teams were really good in the NBA bubble, like the Phoenix Suns. People were shocked by that. Some other baseball teams were somewhat good. But you know what? The Pirates, they stayed where they were at. They're like, it doesn't matter how many games you give us, we're going to suck. So, shout to the Pirates.
You can't put a price on consistency, That's big. That's big. You know what to expect, and they're going to deliver it year after year. My runner-up was the Tampa Bay Lightning for finally winning a Stanley Cup. Unfortunately for them, they did it in the bubble, and I don't know that everyone is going to take it 100% seriously, but they're a team that has been really good for a really long time and probably should have won one before this year, but they managed to do it this year, so that was my runner-up.
I like that. The LSU pick is great. And that's just another thing that makes it's like, I feel like we have like 2019 continued, and that's kind of where they fell in.
Yeah.
And it's just weird because LSU, they didn't stop partying for weeks. The whole the OBJ saga of that whole thing, you know what I mean? With him handing out money to everybody and all that. Like LSU, man, quarantine like made us forget about how just great everything around that team was. Yeah. Good pick.
Like it.
Good pick. We'll pick another category. Chris, what you got?
Okay. I'll go to Song of the Year so we can save the brunch categories for the end. Or sorry,
album.
Album of the Year. Yeah, and we'll save the brunch categories for the end. So yeah, Album of the Year. Who would like to go first?
I will go. My album of the year goes to The Weeknd's After Hours. I enjoyed listening to that album more than any album this year for sure. And it came out in that weird part of quarantine where a lot of people were kind of pushing their albums back because they knew this pandemic was going to be serious and they weren't going to do it. And The Weeknd actually, against his label, was just like, I'm putting it out whether you guys like it or not. So they had to put it out. Came out, I want to say March 14th, or maybe it was March 21st. So it was like right there when everything shut down. He put it out, and this album is excellent. Like, you've heard Blinding Lights a billion times on the radio. If you don't own a TV, you don't own a car, you don't own anything. Because I don't know how you haven't heard that song a million places, but like, In Your Eyes, I mean, everything about this album, I love it. And it's just a great album for anyone who has gone through a really, really crappy breakup, but you still want to find that girl and just, and tell her that you love her. That's what this whole album's about. And it's just great. So The Weeknd, After Hours.
Amazing pick, and hard to argue with that. This may have been, I told you, it was said earlier, Song of the Year was really difficult. This was just as difficult, if not more difficult. I'm going to go with Now 75. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of really good contenders here, but my album of the year is going to go to Dua Lipa with her album Future Nostalgia, because it is near perfect from top to bottom. There's not a single track that you skip. It's taking pop to a whole different and new level, and she does that through each song. Sometimes you get those albums from artists and just some of the songs sound too similar and there's not enough variety. They don't take enough chances. And Dua Lipa did that. And if you didn't know about her before, you surely knew about her after this album came out. Those songs are still being played on the radio. It's really a shame. I hope it continues into 2021 for her, because her tour and her whole year would have been huge. I truly believe that. I think that album is nominated for a Grammy. So Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa narrowly gets my album of the year.
All right. Well, mine is probably not a huge surprise. Machine Gun Kelly, Tickets to My Downfall. I fell in love with that album. That's my kind of music, man. So just for the fact that there was something like that produced on a huge level that went out to a massive audience was cool on its own. But then, I mean, it was actually really good. Like, it was really good. And I know some of the bands in that genre hate on it, but like, just peel all that back and listen to that album. It's really, really good. So that was Tickets to My Downfall. That's my pick for album of the year.
Dude, that album's produced so well. It sounds so good.
Yeah.
And the thing that makes me more mad about anything is that the singles he's picked off this album are all the wrong ones.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're all the wrong ones. And it's not like the songs are bad, the songs with Halsey and Black Bear and stuff, but like Concert for Aliens is like the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's so good. And and within that song specifically, there are so many like callbacks to big pop punk bands of, 15 years ago. Yeah, you're right. I mean, some of the best songs in the album aren't necessarily the ones they went with, but top to bottom, it's really, really good. And I loved it. So that's my pick.
That's a great
Love
pick. Again, there were so many to pick from this year. A couple of my nominee runner-ups, Neon Trees, I Can Feel You Forgetting Me, Imploding the Mirage from The Killers, Wake Up Sunshine by All Time Low, and the two that you actually both mentioned, Machine Gun Kelly and The Weeknd. There were just so many that it could have been. So many great albums this year.
Yeah, runners for me, Chloe and Halle, Ungodly Hour. I just love it. They had a big year with a couple of big singles, and I think quarantine helped them anyways. I think a lot of people got to see them perform on all these virtual specials and things like that because they were just available and ready to do it. So I think it really helped them out. And Justin Bieber put out an album in February of 2020 called Changes. And I completely forgot that album happened. Like, because basically right whenever everything got going and intention starts like blowing up everywhere, it was like, that's it. Everything shut down. They put out Holy and Lonely and stuff, but like Changes was a really good album.
It felt like that was another year ago. Like you said, that felt like it was last year. It's crazy.
It's 2020 BC before Corona.
Yeah.
January, February, and early March.
Yeah, it's like I feel bad for anything that happened before that. It's like, oh yeah, that did happen this year.
Yeah,
it's like 2020 BC. Good God.
A couple pop punk albums that I really, really enjoyed. Seaway put out a new album called Big Vibe. Goldfinger put out an album called Never Look Back. Those are two that I've continued to listen to throughout the year. And I got to put a ska album out there, man. If you didn't listen to it, Less Than Jake, Silver Linings, play that album. It's very, very good.
Nice.
Great stuff.
All right. Who's up? Next category. What do we got?
I don't know what do we have left here? We have Best Brunch. We have Person of the Year. We have anything else? A couple more?
I think those are the last two. Yeah.
Last two. Well, actually, Celeb You'll Miss Most this year. 2020 was not as eventful with the celeb deaths as other years, but this year was definitely another one. I feel like it's down to two, really, for me anyways. I don't know how you guys feel, but it's Alex Trebek and Kobe, and, I'm going to miss them both, but Kobe was just so sudden. Alex Trebek, not saying it's, it doesn't make anything easier when somebody dies or whatever, but it's just like he was sick for a while. And I felt like we did the whole Alex Trebek obituary thing like a year ago. But the Kobe thing was just so crazy, man. It's nuts. And I don't even know if the city I live in Los Angeles is even over it yet. I don't think anybody. I think everyone is still, there's still more murals popping up everywhere and stuff like that, and you're constantly remembering Kobe. And with LA winning winning the win the World Series and win the NBA Finals, it's just like constant reminder of just like Kobe was around, and just how much every athlete was like, Kobe was the reason I do this, whether they played hockey or whether they played baseball or anything. It's like Kobe this, Kobe that. So, but yeah, Kobe, that's definitely the one. That's another wild thing that happened this year and early this year. So.
Yeah, back in January. There was some strange and impactful ones, Didi, that some you mentioned, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. There were just some names going down that some you saw coming and some you didn't. And you really could pick a number of them here, but for me personally, it's going right in line with what you said with Kobe and how that like shook me to my core. And I'll never ever forget that day and where I was and how I felt the days afterwards. That's not one that you hear and you just move on with life. It wasn't for me. And like you said, Didi, it certainly isn't for the city of LA, how that still kind of has that vibe. And like, here we go, less than like 3-4 weeks away from 1 year from that even just saying that freaking me out. So definitely a Kobe for the impact that he had, not only on me personally, but so many other people.
Yeah, it's Kobe for me too. I don't really have anything additional to add to what you guys said, but it's certainly Kobe, and that's crazy. I didn't realize a year was coming up so quick. That feels like it was a month ago.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's one of those it's one of those moments. Like it's one of those where were you type things that our parents talk about, and it's like I know we have a couple growing up, but it's like that's just one of those moments that you're gonna be like, yeah, that's what I was doing when that happened.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to the next one. What are we going for? I think we only have a couple left, so
let's do best brunch at home.
All right. Best brunch at home. Who's the best at home chef out of all of us?
Chris, get started.
Terrible one.
Yeah, what do you got there, Chris?
I'm very excited I had to write it down because it's very long. But the best brunch that we had at home during all of this.
Pizza eggs.
It was crazy. I didn't even think of pizza eggs.
Oh, come on. What?
I know.
We ain't broke that down on this thing here. Wow.
MGK and pizza eggs were the two things I knew that were coming in this episode.
Guaranteed award winners for Chris. You knew those were coming.
No, it didn't make it. Okay, check this out. Buttered popcorn pancakes. Buttered popcorn pancakes with bourbon maple syrup.
You made
those? And then add bacon to it. Yeah, we made those. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Dan, and his wife, Teresa. They sent us a little care package at one point, and we got our brunch on, and it was damn good.
Wow.
And they were good.
They were tremendous.
Popcorn.
Buttered popcorn pancakes.
It was just the flavor, though, right? There's no popcorn in the pancakes.
No.
This is going to be crusting all over again.
No. It was
it's
like
the flavor. Yeah, it's the flavor.
It's the flavor of a pancake mix. Yeah, so it's pancakes that have like a butter popcorn taste to them.
Yo, shout out to the second best looking Danny K on the planet. He needs to hook this Danny K up with some of that mix and that maple syrup. That sounds phenomenal. We need to do a full review from all three of us for that.
Yeah, seriously. I am very interested in this. So, yeah, send it along. We know you're listening. Send it.
He's definitely listening.
A week.
I'll go, I suppose. Wow, no pizza eggs. That's Beck winning album of the year. That's that type of shit right there. Huge upset.
Huge upset. Like I don't even know what's going on. Like that was whoa.
Wow. Mine is, and Chris, you're gonna love this one. Because this is a Steel City brunch written all over it.
Is there whipped cream on it, Dan?
Oh, there was. There was. This was a peanut butter stuffed chocolate French toast
Jesus Christ.
that
Wow.
that shout out to my fiance Shannon. She made this for me on my birthday because she knows how much I love brunch. She knows how much I love that type of brunch, and she knows how much I love peanut butter. And she miraculously put them all into one. It was a like chocolate French toast batter, and then the peanut butter mixture, whatever, was stuffed in between these two pieces of really thick bread. Threw a couple strawberries on top. It was mind blowing and amazing. She's an amazing chef, and she did that for me on my birthday, and that was a brunch I will soon never forget. So that was the best brunch of the year for me.
My God, I don't know how you and Shannon keep your slim figures. I'll tell you that. All the beer you drink, all the cinnamon, all the French toast stuffed peanut butter. What? Good Lord, you guys.
A lot of laps, a lot of walking around, just burning it all off.
All right. Well, mine is I did something that I was terrified about doing. I made donuts this year, guys.
Oh,
And they were okay. But it's my most memorable brunch of the year for sure because I made cinnamon sugar grilled donuts. So it's really simple. All you get is just like the buttermilk biscuit, like, you know, whatever, whoever makes the, you know, the doughboy, whatever. Make those. Yeah, there you go. You get those, and then no, not Bisquick. That's not Bisquick.
It's not the Bisquick Doughboy.
It's not the Bisquick Doughboy.
Pillsbury. Pillsbury.
Hey, yeah, you know the Bisquick Doughboy.
Bisquick Doughboy. Isn't his Aunt Jemima?
It sucks that I couldn't remember who the Pillsbury Doughboy, but it really sucks that you said the Bisquick Doughboy.
You said buttermilk, and that had me thinking pancakes, and I'm like, wow, he's making donuts out of pancake batter. This is weirder than pizza eggs.
Well, anyways, you get the Pillsbury the biscuits, and you just poke a hole in them. You poke a hole in them like you put a donut hole in them or whatever, and then you get cinnamon sugar and like ground cinnamon and stuff, and then you get some what the hell did I use for glaze? Can't remember, but put it on the grill for like really quick. It's like 2 minutes, and then flip it over. 2 minutes, donuts.
Really? It cooks that quickly?
That simple. It's that simple. Yeah, it's really quick. It's like a really, really quick thing. Yeah.
It sounds interesting, but your raving review of they were okay makes me kind of wait a little bit. I'm not sure if I want to do that.
They're okay because you have to understand, like, Gordon Ramsay makes steaks. I make steaks. His are better than mine.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, if I don't know, maybe your donuts will be better than mine. I'm not saying I'm a great cook at all. I just, during quarantine, I decided to be like, what's ground cinnamon? That's cool. I'm going to make donuts. And it happened. That's one of those things that would not have happened in any other year, but it happened in 2020. And I thank 2020 for that. And now, are we at Person of the Year?
We are. We're at Person of the Year.
Which I believe is person you'd most person of the year that you would want to have brunch with, correct?
Yes, because, and I have to make that stipulation because there are a lot of great people from this year, a lot of very memorable people who could take the crown. But how many of those people do you actually want to sit at a table with and have brunch with? And that's why you get to this answer, which I'm going to go first, guys.
Please.
Vin Diesel.
Oh, no.
I didn't get a Fast and Furious movie this year. I was supposed to. It was supposed to come out in May. One of the big tragedies of quarantine is not getting a Fast and the Furious movie. We were supposed to get Fast 9 this year. We didn't get it. Got pushed back to this coming year, 2021. And he gave us 2 great songs because he was like, you know what? My fans need me. They need me. And he gave us Days Are Gone and Feel Like I Do. And I want to talk to him about that. I want to sit at the table with the Person of the Year for the Brunch Breakdown. Vin Diesel. Talk to him all about that. So Vin Diesel, my Person of the Year.
I knew Vin Diesel was going to pop up at some point in this episode. I I did not think it would be this category. I thought somebody DD. I thought somebody was going to pick him for Song of the Year because he was on the playlist for an absurd amount of time.
Yes.
But I'm glad to see that he did actually end up surfacing. Dan, what's your pick?
A lot of people to pick from here. Really difficult. And I love the stipulation about not only person of the year, but person you want to have brunch with. So that takes out most political figures, thankfully, for this, because there's a number of them that could be person of the year. However, we did break into that a little bit down. Election week was huge on this podcast and around the world, right? It became election week, not day, not night, not whatever. And there was one man that helped us get through it all. Day in, day out, night in, night out. My brunch person of the year is the man, the myth, the legend, John King. Congratulations, brunch person of the year from me. What can you say about this guy? He was absolutely amazing on CNN's coverage of election week, and I would just love to sit down, have a conversation with him. He seems like a really cool guy. I watch him one night a year. What do I know? But or I guess it was like six days this year. But he just seems like a cool, down-to-earth guy, and I would love to get the back. I want to hear him give me some raw emotion about what he thinks about Wolf Blitzer interrupting him all the time. And in particular, after days and days and days, and they finally make the final projection of who was going to be elected president-elect, right in the middle of John King, right in the middle, talking Wolf cut in. He never steals the spotlight. It just comes to him naturally, even when Wolf tries to do so. But my man, John King, did a lot for us this year. And through the most probably stressful election in the history of this country, he helped calm the nerves, and would love to sit down and have him be with him.
That is a good one. That is a man that we gave his fair due on this show this year.
Yes.
Have you guys seen on Sunday Night Football, they got a guy like pretending to be John King? Have you seen this?
Yeah, dude. This
the
whatever
NBC guy.
Like Kornacki or something.
Yeah, because he got popular too. At the same time, we were all talking about John King. Women were like calling him like whatever his last name is. Like they were calling him Snacky because they were saying he looked like a snack while he was running the map. And I was like, not feeling this dude. Yeah, and I'm like,
see the Silver Fox, John King. Let's go, ladies.
That's what I'm talking about. You can do better. That's what John King, don't. Yeah, and he does the NFL stuff, and he's very annoying on there. I'm like, I don't need the Browns have a 97% chance of making the playoffs like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, I really dislike when they like go to commercial, but they tease that they're going to go to him next when they come back, and he's like pretending to be scheming on his John King map.
Right.
Really
poser.
Trash.
So I took this very literally, my friends. Person you want to have brunch with from this year. Okay? And I chose not one person, but two.
No.
It's a package deal.
Uh-oh.
And I chose Dan and Dee Dee from the Brunch Breakdown because I just want to have brunch with my friends again.
Amazing.
That's what I'm running. I'm running in 2021 on that ticket. Let the Brunch
amazing.
Breakdown brunch again. That's what
I love it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Gosh. Dude, it's gonna be so weird for so many reasons the next time we are together again. I don't know when that's gonna be. I hope it's before Dan gets married in 2022. Yep. But there's no guarantee.
I don't think it's gonna be there's gonna be like 15 minutes of awkward, and then they're gonna deliver the mimosas, and then it's gonna be fine.
Then we'll be back in.
Yeah, and it's only going to be awkward because I don't know what I'm going to say to you guys first. I'm like, what's the first thing I'm gonna say to one of you guys? Like, I have no idea. Like, it's yeah, that's a good one.
Oh,
That's a good one.
great pick there, Christopher. Great pick.
That's a good one.
I don't know when it's going to happen. Hopefully
No idea.
sometime next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, because good Lord,
Yeah.
it'd be sweet to meet your daughter before she starts driving. Be awesome.
Right?
Oh man. But yeah, did you have any runner-ups? Anybody have runner-ups? Anybody you were thinking of choosing?
Yeah, there were a couple. Dolly Parton had a phenomenal year. She spurred the viral trend with the, what you look like on Facebook and LinkedIn and whatever and Tinder. That was amazing. She had a great Christmas special. She did that thing earlier in the year where she was reading kids' books online. But then, like, on a more serious note, she also helped fund the Moderna vaccine, which is pretty big stuff. So, and she seems like a wonderful woman, and it would be a delight to have brunch with. She seems like someone like me that would be talking through most of brunch, and it would take 5.5 hours, and I would love that. So Dolly Parton was in there. Dave Chappelle was in there. His 846 special was amazing. And one gentleman in particular who almost took the award, Nathan Apodaca, who was famous from TikTok fame, the skateboard, cranberry juice, Fleetwood Mac song guy, him. What a year he's had. I think he'd be a blast to sit down and have brunch with as well. Unfortunately, he tested positive for COVID recently, so hope he's doing well. Hope we can have a stronger 2021 to him. So a couple of runner-up nominees.
Yeah, man. Chris, do you have any runner-ups?
I did not, but the only thing I want to say is the goal for 2021 is we have to sell a t-shirt that says Dolly Parton had a phenomenal year. That's all.
I'll put it on the list and get it made this week.
I love it. Oh, I love it.
2020 sucked butt, and then on the back, Dolly Parton had a phenomenal year.
There were some weird people who had like good years in 2020. There were some weird ones, but another person, a person I almost gave number one to was Barack. I really wanted to, because he's been on this book tour and he's basically been talking to anyone and everyone about all sorts of different topics. And I'm like, I think it might be time. It's been a few years. It's time to have Obama at the table. And I thought it'd be cool because I feel like you can just ask that guy anything, like literally anything. Like, I pride myself on being able to do that with most things, but it's like he can not only like break down why like why the Lakers are better than everyone else, or break down Luka Doncic's game, and then he'll start talking about like some treaty that I've never heard of in some other country or whatever that he was dealing with in 2011. I'm like, it's wild to me that you can just jump from those different topics. So yeah, I would love to quiz Obama at brunch because I feel like that's how it would be. But yeah, and another person I brought up because of this topic was Joe Exotic, right? I don't want to have brunch with Joe Exotic, but I feel like I just have to mention him from this year because this year was just the beginning of quarantine. Was everyone's talking about Tiger King?
Blew up.
That's all it was. More people were talking about Tiger King at that time than they were talking about like the pandemic and coronavirus. And then after that went away, it was people were like, "Oh, we can go outside, right?" And they're like, "No, you can't. Everything's awful. It's terrible." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Right.
But yeah.
Another
Man, guys. Well, any final thoughts on 2020 going into 2021, or any New Year's resolutions? Any final thoughts? Because this episode is coming to a close, guys.
It is. It's been a weird year, a strange year. But maybe if it wasn't for it, we wouldn't have been able to get this thing back together. So it's been very enjoyable, boys, to be back at the table with you and go through this stuff each and every week. Hopefully brought some sort of positivity and entertainment to all of our listeners, and looking forward to a much better 2021. We're going to love to flip the calendar, but unfortunately, it's not all going to get better overnight at midnight, 12:01. Life ain't back to normal, unfortunately, on New Year's Eve. But yes, looking forward to whatever the future of normalcy becomes again, and hopefully having brunch with you gentlemen and going to concerts and beer fests on smaller scales, and hopefully getting vaccines soon so we can do all of that soon. So those are all the resolutions for next year.
Chris, final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll echo what Dan said about bringing this podcast back. This has been the height of my social interaction this year. So thanks, guys.
Right.
Appreciate it.
It's nice to be able to sit down with people and not wear a mask and try to understand it. And through all that, it's a little bit more comfortable this way. So this is nice.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah, and that's like my final thought too. I'm happy we brought this back. I'm happy we have the podcast back, and I thank coronavirus for that, I guess, because that is one of the things that I've enjoyed the most.
I know where you're going. You had to slip one more thank you to COVID into the podcast before the year ended. Nobody has thanked the pandemic more than DD, but just to make sure, he had to get one more in to get that extra tally. In case anybody was challenging him, DD appreciates COVID more than anybody.
Yep.
Listen, guys, I'm sorry. My love for coronavirus will not be stopped by anyone. I'm sorry. I love coronavirus.
Amazing.
And I will stand by it. I love it, guys. I love it. And I will wear my mask until it ends. But man, it's been a great ride with you guys. And we're rolling all the way into 2021 and 2022 until Now puts out Now 150. That'll be our last episode.
Right.
When Now puts out Now 150. Well, this has been the Brunchies. This has been the Brunch Breakdown. Thank you guys for listening. And we'll talk to you guys next week in a new year, 2021. Peace.